In just a couple of months, in December, it will be 5 years since Super Smash Bros. Ultimate released on the Nintendo Switch, which is absolutely absurd. 5 years is a very long time, and around this time, we can normally start to expect something from a new Smash Bros. Coming very soon, or some word, maybe even a trailer drop or a teaser, but we really haven't gotten anything, and it's hard to say if anything will even come anytime soon after the ambitious project of Smash Ultimate. And if you take in consideration the final DLC character being Sora, released in October of 2021, which has now been 2 years. Smash Ultimate has gone through its life cycle. It has gone through everything it needed to, and after 5 years, we're already thinking and starting to speculate on what's next for Smash Brothers. And the entire Smash community is all over the place, thinking about this could be the last Smash Brothers, and lots of people saying no, there's no way this is the last one. And then lots of people saying that the next one was going to be just as ambitious, and then a lot of people saying no, the next one is not going to have as many characters and is going to cut the roster. Well, there's a lot of stuff to speculate, but we get a little bit more information today from Masahiro Sakurai himself in his YouTube channel, as he actually posted a full video talking about the development of Smash Ultimate and the process that he endured. Before we dive into the future in the next Smash Brothers and what we can expect, and my take on the matter, let's talk about this video real quick, because I thought there were some really cool, interesting facts that Sakurai brought up. And he talks about like the development and how it had a completely different team than the other games, how Bandai Namco actually worked on the 3DS, Wii U, and Switch titles, and talked about how this was actually all planned literally the same day as the final presentation for Smash 4, that Bayonetta presentation. Yes, on that same day, he gave his proposal to Nintendo about what Smash Ultimate could be like. He ultimately felt like it was the chance to bring every single character back and make this the ultimate Smash Brothers game, where everyone returned, which was a really cool idea, also taking elements from the Smash Bros. Fighter Ballot from 4 and actually implementing that within the roster as well, which was really cool to see, and also the fact that Sakurai stated he was aiming for about 70 to 100 changes for each fighter in the game. As you'll notice, not a lot of fighters got that much of a change, and maybe that's some evidence for what could be coming in the future, and I'll talk about that here soon. But yes, just continues to go on about the development and how it's changed, and the pacing's changed to be a lot faster than 4, 3DS, and Brawl, but not as fast as Melee. It also goes on to talk about how the Switch cartridges only hold 16 gigabytes of memory, where the Wii U disc actually held 25 gigs, so almost half of that they had to work with, which made things a lot more of a struggle. And he even thought about making the music a separate free download instead of actually included in the games cartridge, which is crazy to think about. They were able to kind of fold everything down though and compress everything, which was really good, so it all fit without a problem. That would lead to other problems in the development, since there's so many characters, so many stages, and so much music. It's just not enough room to add something like an ambitious story mode like Subspace Emissary. With this giant roster of characters, you could not have a very ambitious story mode giving the spotlight to all of these different characters. It just, for one, probably wouldn't have fit on the cartridge alone, but also would have took up way too much development time, especially since Sakurai made the choice to go with more characters instead of more of an ambitious story mode. So that's just kind of a choice that he had to make early in development, was the ultimate Smash Brothers with all the characters, and I think it still was the right choice as someone who loves Subspace. However, something that I don't really agree with is that Sakurai stated most people probably would not want a Melee adventure mode. It wouldn't be enough for this game, and in my opinion, I think it would. Sakurai calls that just regular battles, but in my eyes, that is exactly what World of Light is, just regular battles. Yes, there's some differences, like the character is big, small, or maybe metal or something, or on fire, but at the end of the day, it's just regular battles against NPCs, against computers. So why in the world would that be such a stretch to have a adventure mode like Melee, where you had actual regular stages thrown in there as well, where you could defeat Goombas and other enemies? I still think that would have been a better choice, especially with all these new characters. Having some stages based on those characters that you could defeat some of their enemies like Mega Man and Sonic would have been really cool to see, even if we weren't going to get a Subspace Emissary mode. But I digress. Even though it's never said or brought up, it does seem like Nintendo wanted Sakurai and his team to get this game out relatively soon, especially since the new Nintendo Switch released. They probably wanted this year too, no matter what. That's why they had to get it out by December, because it looks like there was a lot of corners cut in this game. They couldn't have trophies because it would just take too long. They couldn't have a giant adventure mode because it would take too long. There's a lot of things that they just couldn't have in this game because it would have took too long. And I feel like if they would have took a lot of time to develop a better story mode and had more time to make things like trophies, it would have been maybe more cleaner of a game. But it seems like lots of things were just cut corners. You know, lots of things were easier. Spirits were a lot easier because it was just PNGs of the characters that already existed. So yes, it does feel like there was a lot of corners cut with this game because of the lack of time they had. Then he finishes up talking about the DLC and talking about how it actually posed some troubles because of the fact of COVID, so they had to work remotely, which caused some problems online and trying to test battles and stuff. And you know, Nintendo Switch is online. It isn't great. Those servers are wonky, so they had some issues with that. Sakurai at the very end does talk about the future of Smash Bros. And says that he's not even sure what's going to happen and what's going to be next, but also states that there probably is going to be another one. And the fact that there is no shutdown saying he doesn't think there's going to be another one or something like that, so people can stop saying that. In fact, he states that if there is going to be another one, and when there is another one, that it is going to probably not be as expansive as what we've seen in Ultimate, and that they definitely will probably not add anything else to that current roster and at that size. So they're not going to expand anymore. That just makes sense. It makes so much sense. Smash Ultimate is a huge game, and it was made to be Smash Ultimate, the ultimate Smash Brothers game with all these characters. But one thing it looks like that Sakurai is kind of hinting at is that the next Smash Brothers is going to be more of a reboot, if anything. Let me give you some of my opinions and what I think the next Smash Brothers should do and what it probably is going to do. Now, I'm not going to dive into small little itty-bitty details. That will be for a separate video. But overall, they have to reboot. It just makes sense. This game has tons of characters, over 80 different characters, but that needs to be cut down. We have really good Nintendo characters already in this game that have very outdated movesets that simply need rebooted. I am very tired of hearing the entire community and different people in the community talk about how it just would not work if Nintendo made another game that didn't have all these characters. It absolutely would. And people saying they don't know what Nintendo would even do with the next Smash Brothers is insane to me. Because you got characters like Mario, Luigi, Link, Samus, Sonic even, that have movesets that have been super outdated for the last 2 or 3 games. I mean, for the most part, Mario is just a guy that can punch and kick. And with a couple of things that reference past games, that's really all Mario has ever had. There's so many characters I can sit here and go through with the same things. Samus has not been changed in forever. Link is still the same character, but with remote bombs. Every single version of Link is ideally the same character. Instead of having young Link be based off of Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time, and Toon Link being based off of Wind Waker or maybe even the DS games with Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, they're all ideally the same Link. And this goes on for a lot of other characters. Sonic is literally just Spin Dash. So, I mean, we can go through all of these characters and rebuild them from the ground up and give them super dynamic movesets. Do you notice how we get DLC characters and all the DLC characters seem to have some crazy new mechanic? Terry got a back B. You had characters that were able to switch forms and stuff like that. Steve was able to build on the stage. Kazuya has an entire fighting game moveset that's not even like Smash. There's so many great additions with these DLC characters, and I want every single character in the base roster to feel like it was made as a DLC character. I want to see Mario remade, but as a DLC character, giving him tons of abilities and items that he's had in all of his past games. Seriously, most of these characters in the roster has not been changed since Smash Melee. That is a very long time. That is the GameCube we're talking about. So honestly, it's crazy that people think that there's nothing they could do with the future installments. Yes, they can. Rebuild the current cast of characters that you already have, and just add more Nintendo characters. Right now, we're always looking forward to the next big third-party character and DLC character, and that's always great and stuff, and I love to see, you know, guest stars make an appearance, but at the same time, there's a lot of other Nintendo characters that still deserve to be in this game. Zelda doesn't have a whole lot of representation outside of a lot of Links, and then you got Zelda and Ganondorf. You could throw the champions or the new sages in there, and there's just so much more you can do. Kirby can have Bandana D, finally, and you can add more Mario characters, maybe some enemies like Goomba, the way they did Piranha Plant or Hammer Bro and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that you can still do with a lot of, you know, franchises that exist. Star Fox could get Peppy in there, or maybe even Slippy as a character, or some of, you know, Star Wolf's team. There's a lot of stuff. Punch-Out! There's a lot of characters in Punch-Out that could get in there. Throw Mike Tyson in the game. Okay, probably not Mike Tyson. But at the end of the day, There is a lot they can do within the Nintendo core franchise itself without diving into these other third-party characters, and they can just focus on Nintendo characters, focus on the characters that you've already had, like Ness, that's still been the same, Captain Falcon, that has still been the same, Jigglypuff and Pikachu, that have still been the same, Yoshi is the exact same still. They need to add more stuff to these characters. I mean, look at all the games that have come out since that has added things to the characters. Samus has the ability to parry now, and it has tons of new really cool moves in Dread, which would be really cool to see. And also the fact that none of the Prime games are really included, without like a couple exceptions and stuff, but I would love to be able to switch different beams that Samus would have, and maybe it changes her suit's appearance and stuff. There's so much that they could do, and it hurts to hear people say that there's nothing to do besides add more characters. No. Scratch it all, restart, redevelop, and let's have some fun things that really make Smash Brothers feel great again. And like Sakurai said, with less characters, it would be easier to make something as ambitious as a Subspace Emissary, which is something that I think a lot of people would like. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in the world likes Subspace. A lot of people may not like Subspace, but at the same time, you cannot tell me something with pre-rendered cutscenes, fun worlds and enemies to take down, and a unique story isn't better than just World of Light fighting computers the entire time. Personally, I think it's just so much better. So I think it's something that would greatly make the next Smash Brothers game even greater. It's unknown what's going on with the future of Smash currently, because Sakurai did state that his current project is just making YouTube videos. So whether he's just hiding the fact that he's also working on this next Smash while making these YouTube videos, or if maybe it's being undertaken by a bigger group or a different group and Sakurai's just watching over, or maybe it's just not being produced yet at all and is still in the planning phases. It's hard to say, but I can't wait to see what comes next from Super Smash Brothers. But definitely let me know in the comments down below what you think we're going to get next. Is it going to be a bigger expansion, even adding on top of the characters that we've already had, or is it going to be more of a soft reboot, kind of fixing the characters that we've already had and kind of keeping it smaller but more complex? Let me know in the comments down below, and make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.